It was a quiet Saturday in late spring, the kind where the air smelled like freshly cut grass and the world seemed to move a little slower. Elena Carter stood on the worn-out wooden porch of her weather-beaten house, a glass of iced tea in her hand, sweat on her neck, and more stress on her shoulders than most people would believe. Her shift at the diner had just ended, and her feet ached, but it was the broken fence in her yard that bothered her more than anything. That fence had been leaning dangerously for weeks. It was a symbol of everything else in her life that was barely holding together: her car, her bills, her patience. She'd been putting it off, waiting until she had the money or time or energy, none of which ever seemed to show up. But now something was different. There was a man out there, a stranger. She squinted against the sun. He was tall, maybe in his early 40s, with dark skin, broad shoulders, and arms that looked like they knew hard work. He wore a faded grey t-shirt, jeans dusty at the knees, and a well-worn tool belt strapped around his waist. He was already halfway through fixing one of the broken fence posts, hammering with quiet purpose, not even looking up as she approached the edge of the porch. "Excuse me?" she called out, unsure whether to sound angry, confused, or grateful. The man looked up, startled but not nervous. He smiled. "Hey, didn't mean to scare you." Who are you?" "Name's Marcus. Your neighbor across the street said this fence has been leaning forever. I fix fences. Figured I'd lend a hand before it falls on someone." Elena blinked. "You just fix strangers' fences for free now?" He shrugged. "Doesn't always have to be about money. Some things just need doing." For a moment she didn't know what to say. She stepped off the porch and walked toward him, careful in her worn-out sneakers. Up close, he looked calm, focused. His hands were rough but steady. He didn't feel threatening, not even a little. "You from around here?" she asked. "Used to be, just moved back, trying to stay busy." "Well, I mean, thank you," she said, still trying to wrap her head around it. "Most people wouldn't." "I ain't most people," he said with a grin, and then went back to hammering. She stood there a while, just watching. He worked like he meant it. No rush, no showing off, like he cared about the work being done right, like he cared, period. "You want some tea?" she asked. He paused, looked up. "Sure, that'd be nice." They sat on the porch together, two strangers with nothing in common except this one odd moment. She poured him a glass, and he thanked her like a gentleman from another time. He asked about her daughter, the one photo sitting in the window. She told him about her, 11 years old, smart, already asking questions about the world that Elena didn't always know how to answer. They talked about the diner where she worked, about how her car hadn't started that morning, about how some days felt like walking uphill with bricks in her pockets. And Marcus just listened. No advice, no judgment, just quiet understanding. Time passed. The fence stood tall and steady again. The sun dipped lower in the sky. Marcus stood, brushed the dust off his hands. "Well," he said, "guess I'll head out." And then she said it. "Will you marry me?" He froze. "What?" "I said, will you marry me?" she repeated, this time with a shaky laugh. "I'm not joking." He stared at her like he wasn't sure if this was a prank or a dream, and she wasn't sure either. Only that something about him felt like peace, like safety, like maybe saying something crazy was exactly what this moment needed. She swallowed. "I don't know why I said that, I just did." And the world went still, right before everything started to change. Marcus didn't move. For a few long seconds he just stood there, one foot on the step, as if frozen between leaving and staying. The late afternoon light slanted across his face, catching the flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. Surprise, maybe, or suspicion, or something deeper. "You don't even know me," he finally said, voice low, careful. "I know you fixed my fence when nobody asked you to," Elena replied, her voice trembling. "And that you listened to me without trying to fix me. That counts for something." He let out a slow breath, rubbing the back of his neck. "You're serious? You don't even know my last name." "Okay," she said, a bit more softly now. "Maybe I don't mean marry me today, I just—" She trailed off, searching for the right words. "I don't know what came over me. It's been years since I felt like I could breathe around someone. And then you showed up, and I did." Marcus gave her a long, searching look. "You been hurt?" She laughed bitterly. "Who hasn't?" He nodded slowly, understanding more than she expected. "Yeah," he said, "me too." A silence settled between them, not heavy but honest, the kind that didn't ask for answers, just space. "He was married once," he said after a while. "She left when I lost everything. Construction business went under. I lost the house, the truck, almost lost myself. Been rebuilding ever since, not just fences." Elena looked down at her hands. "I've never been married. Thought I would be, but I kept picking the kind of men who like to leave more than stay. My daughter, she's never had a real man to look up to." Marcus sat down on the porch again, this time without asking. "You don't throw words like marriage around lightly, Elena." "I wasn't trying to be funny," she said a little too quickly. "It just came out. Maybe because it's been so long since anything felt right. And sitting here with you somehow did." He studied her face, then leaned back, his eyes on the sky. "Tell you what, I come back next Saturday. That car you said won't start, I'll take a look. You're a mechanic too. I'm a man who fixes things. Might not have a piece of paper for it, but I can turn a wrench." She smiled, heart hammering again for a different reason this time. "And if you fix the car, then maybe we call that a second date," he said with a small grin. Elena laughed, genuinely this time, and felt something loosen in her chest, a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. "You sure you want to get involved with a woman who blurts out marriage proposals in her front yard?" she teased. "I've heard worse pickup lines," he replied, standing to leave. "At least yours came with iced tea." He started walking down the porch steps, then paused. "Elena?" "Yeah?" "I don't know where this is going, but it's been a long time since someone saw something good in me before knowing all my damage." She nodded. "Same." He gave a small wave, then walked across the yard toward his truck. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the repaired fence. She watched him drive away, hand resting lightly on the porch rail, a smile touching her lips. Maybe it wasn't a love story yet, but it was something. And something was a good place to start.